The siege of Fort Henry was an attack on American militiamen during the American Revolutionary War near the Virginia outpost known as Fort Henry by a mixed band of Indians in September 1777. The fort, named for Virginia Governor Patrick Henry, was at first defended by only a small number of militia, as rumors of the Indian attack had moved faster than the Indians, and a number of militia companies had left the fort. The American settlers were successful in repulsing the Indian attack. Background: in the summer of 1777, rumors began circulating throughout frontier areas of Virginia and Pennsylvania that Indians living in the Ohio country were planning attacks on frontier settlements on and around the Ohio River. Fort Henry, which had been constructed in 1774 to protect the settlers in the area around what is now Wheeling, West Virginia, was one of the rumored targets. In early August, General Edward Hand, the commander at nearby Fort Pitt, warned Lieutenant David Shepard and all of the local militia captains of the threat, ordering them to gather at Fort Henry. For a time thereafter, militia companies stayed at Fort Henry, improving its defenses and patrolling for Indians. However, the absence of any obvious threat led many of those companies to leave and return to their homes. By the end of August, only 2 companies, those of Joseph Ogle and Samuel Mason, remained. The battle is reported in some sources to have taken place on September 1, and in others on September 21. On the night of the battle, a mixed band of about 200 Indians under the leadership of the Wendat chief Pomoakan approached the fort in great stealth and secrecy. Local men later joined by recruits from Fort Shepherd and Fort Holiday defended the fort. When 4 men left the fort early that morning, the Indians attacked them, killing 1. The other 3 escaped, including 2 who returned to the fort to raise the alarm. Anticipating a sortie from the fort, the Indians set up an ambush. The party that Captain Mason led out marched out to search for the Indians, and were very nearly surprised. One of Mason's men spotted an Indian and shot him, prompting the Indians to open fire. Seeing that they were very nearly surrounded, Mason and his men retreated, with Mason suffering severe enough injuries that he was forced to hide by the path rather than go to the fort. When Ogle led some men out to assist, his party was also attacked, and he was forced to take cover. Both he and Mason were eventually able to re-enter the fort. The native force subsequently burned the surrounding cabins and destroyed livestock. Major Samuel McCulloch led a small force of men from Fort Van Meter along Short Creek to assist the besieged Fort Henry. McCulloch was separated from his men and was chased by attacking Indians. Upon his horse, McCulloch charged up Wheeling Hill and made what is known as McCulloch's Leap, 300 feet down its eastern side to safety. The Indians rushed to the edge, expecting to see the major lying dead in a crumpled heap at the bottom of the hill. To their great surprise, they instead saw McCulloch, still mounted on his white horse, galloping away from them. The Indians remained overnight outside the fort, dancing and demonstrating, but never attacked it directly. They left the next morning, having suffered 9 wounded and 1 killed, while the Americans lost 15, with 5 wounded.